Welcome to Crazy Biatch Asians. This is a podcast where we discuss the issues Asians can face in the Western world with a critical mind, a bit of healthy debate, and lots of tea. Hosted by digital marketer Sharon Jiang and journalist Juna Zhu.
Hey friends. As you may have heard, a huge surge of violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is happening across the globe, particularly in the US. Spurred on by the racist notion of the China virus, anyone who looks Asian seems to be the target against racial abuse, both verbal, physical, and at its worst, fatal. We're addressing the issue today in hopes of spreading the word to stop Asian hate.
We are heartbroken and devastated.
Yeah, our hearts are yearning in grief. In a time when we should all be turning to one another for support as we battle through mental challenges, the pandemic amplified this long history of racism towards Asian people. As two proud Asian Australians who are now fearful of what the future holds, we definitely felt like we needed to address this issue. It's only through educational conversation in which we can hopefully put an end to this before it spirals out of control. We need to fulfill our duty as humans and play our part in stopping Asian hate. While this has been an ongoing issue, it was the latest surge of absolutely horrific mass shootings in Atlanta on the Asian community that was the real earthquake that shook the world. It just highlighted the painful reality of the rising anti-Asian violence around the world.
Yes, so for those who aren't across it, on March 16th, 2021, 8 people, 6 of them being Asian American women, were killed at 3 spas in Atlanta, Georgia. The victims were Soon Chong Park, 74, Hyun Jun Grant, 51, Sun Cha Kim, 69, Yong A Yue, 63, Tan Xiao Jie, 49, Feng Dao You, 44, Delana Ashley Yorn, 33, and Paul Andre Michels, 54. A white 21-year-old man by the name of Robert Aaron Long was arrested within hours of the attacks and charged with 8 counts of murder. But one problem arose. The police asserted that the shooter was not racially motivated, a statement that was met with widespread criticism and disdain. It promoted widespread debate over what constitutes a hate crime, and if this wasn't, then what is the explanation behind the gunman's actions, especially in the context of the recent surge of violence against Asian Americans?
Yes, so off this, what is the actual definition of a hate crime?
According to the New South Wales Police, a hate crime is, quote, a criminal offence motivated against persons that is motivated in whole or in part by an offender's hate against an individual or group's actual or perceived race, religion, ethnic or national origin, sex or gender, gender identity, age, disability status, sexual orientation, or homeless status. So NGOs usually define racist violence as, quote, racially motivated criminal acts against the person and or property, and include public insults and defamation, threats, and incitement to racial violence, hatred, or discrimination.
However, there is a problem. The narrow legal definition of what constitutes a hate crime makes it really hard to charge and convict in the US, as pointed out in an article on The Conversation. Janine Bell, who is a professor of law at the Mora School of Law, Indiana University, has studied hate crime and police for over 20 years, and she says that charging people with a hate crime presents additional layers of complexity to what may otherwise be a straightforward case for prosecutors. Bias motivation can be hard to prove, and prosecutors can be reluctant to take cases that they may not win in court. Bell summed up the dilemma perfectly. So she wrote, hate crime laws reflect American ideals of fairness, justice, and equity. But if crimes motivated by bias aren't reported, well investigated, charged, or brought to trial, it matters little what state law says. So now that we've discussed that, I think it's really important we address where this is all stemming from. Why are Asians being targeted now?
Yeah, okay.